what is our solution that we're proposing and why does this make the most sense? We need to have a certain amount of money put on a specific budget line to support a specific capability at a specific timeline. I have a specific messaging methodology. I call it my 8-minute rule of messaging. And that's because most meetings in DC are set up to be 20 or 30 minutes. Most people know how to give an elevator pitch, but they don't know how to tell their coherent story to include a request and get it across to the audience who may not know anything about them in 8 minutes or less. And I do that repeatedly. And we start by coming in advance with a request to talk about a topic. We know when to have that request in the air to a particular decision maker. We send the issue just a little bit in advance, but we go in and talk about 4 specific things. The issue, what is the problem that we're here to solve? The background, how did this problem get to where it is? The discussion, why are we the best solution and why does this solution make sense? And then a recommendation. This is the key part. Recommending putting a specific dollar value on a specific budget line to support a specific capability within a certain time frame. When you can answer all of those questions succinctly in 8 minutes or less, you become a hero in the Washington, D.C. world. And that's because you've answered all the questions that the decision maker is going to have, and you've given them time back in their calendar. And when you give them time back in their calendar, you get to come back again. If you're somebody who goes in there and you have a 35-minute message to fill a 30-minute meeting, you're not going to come back because they're not going to be available to you. When you go in there and you show credibility and that you know how to command a meeting, you get invited back. And in fact, they start to call you as a resource to help them better understand things that they don't understand. And when you can reverse that relationship such that the government audience reaches out to you, you've changed the dynamic forever.
I like it. I like it. Go over your 8-minute again. You said background. I'm taking notes, G. I'm taking notes, man. All right. So you said background.
You have an approved meeting and you,
Yep.
you get an email back that says, yep, we can see you at 12:30 on March 26th or 28th. We'll make it a weekday. 12:30 March 28th. You show up at 12:27. You don't want to be too early. You don't want to be too late. You walk in, you have just a very little bit of chit chat. It could be something about the weather, could be something you notice in somebody's office, a little league picture or something like that. So there's 30 to 40 seconds of chit chat, and then you get right into it. You have your white paper, which has the 4 things laid out on it: the issue, what's the problem, the background, how did we get here, the discussion, what is our solution that we're proposing and why does this make the most sense, and then the recommendation. We need to have a certain amount of money put on a specific budget line to support a specific capability at a specific timeline. When you can rattle that off for your issue, doesn't matter what it is, could be software, could be a product, something that you manufacture, something that you're developing, you name it, the same concept applies. This is how Washington communicates, in this very simple language. And we tend to think in terms of Shark Tank or a PowerPoint deck, and it's just not how it is. It's much more straightforward, but we use too many words and we think out loud when we're in the moment and we haven't prepared, and then we try to overwhelm them with everything that we know, as opposed to the few things that they need to know. And when you can command a meeting driving the outline like this, you can become a winner.
I like that. I like that. That's great. Can you let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your podcast, the Make Your Move podcast.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So Make Your Move stemmed from a book that I wrote that was really an expression of my transition experience from the military. I took a role as a corporate lobbyist because it was a a very natural transition for me. I had learned how industry interacts with Congress and with the Navy while I was on active duty. I had relationships that corporate America found useful and interesting. It was a very easy transition for me. But what I found was that the work at the corporate level was not particularly fulfilling. And it really wasn't until I left my corporate job that I appreciated how unfulfilling it was. And I could see in retrospect that many of my peers, those that were former military who worked in the defense industry, were not really happy in their jobs. They were making a lot of money, and their lifestyle had improved dramatically from their time on active duty, but they weren't fulfilled with the work. And so I thought, yeah, I'm uniquely positioned here as a successful consultant to talk about this transition. And so I put it to a book.